and I'm going to ask her to tell us a little bit about herself. She sent us the bio, but I wanted her to introduce herself because she's so amazing. She's the West Hollywood, so they were like, West Hollywood, not Hollywood, West Hollywood Poet Laureate. And I wanted her to tell exactly what that is and how did she get that distinguished honor. So come on up, Jen, and then she's gonna read us some poems. Isn't that awesome?
Thank you so much. Whoops, let's do this. Microphones. Sorry. Thank you so much for having me. I've always grown up really looking at civil rights leaders, women, feminists, poets who led the way before me. I am the 5th West Hollywood Poet Laureate. A lot of people don't know we have poet laureates, but we all know Maya Angelou, right? And we all know Amanda Gorman, right? I'm not there yet in terms of being nationally recognized, but I hope to inspire people. As a poet laureate, we get to be a cultural ambassador, help open for ceremony, and also tell stories, because poetry is grounded in story. So I'm going to share a few poems with you today. And first off, I want to recognize the hard work and pioneering that critical race feminist lawyers have done to make sure that women of color are represented in the law. And critical race feminism was a strong foundation of my social justice upbringing. So I wanted to pay homage to the legal scholars before me and how they grew all this protection for our civil rights, and we have to keep fighting for that, right? So I want a larger audience to hear this legal scholar work that they've done. So I've crafted poems based on words I found in the words of Sharon Home, that was in a 1997 reader of Critical Race Feminism, and it's from the legal article, Female Infanticide in China. Fight for the life of a girl. The terrorist practice of valuing women only as bearers of sons, deliberate killing of girl babies, persistent devaluation of female life, criminalized but still the norm. What if more women exercise their power to disbelieve that home is not a shrine of violence? Uproot culture, speak not on behalf but powerfully their own words and music to love their daughters, welcomed with tears of joy. Mom, the second piece I have was my story of my feminist crisis in my last semester of college. I was at Berkeley, and in the 90s, I didn't have much direction for what my options were. I'm going to read it like a news announcer because it was a news to me, but it's an age-old problem for women finding work. Job requirements, fishnets or pantyhose. In that split second, the splinter under the desk that snagged my pantyhose decided the course of my young adult life. It was only 10 a.m. and the second of 5 interviews to win a job offer with golden handcuffs, so I could cash in on my economics degree. But the rip without the immediate defense of clear nail polish was only going to grow into an embarrassing tear that kept running for the rest of the day. The well-meaning classmates who primed me for this rat race told me gray-haired partners at the big bank had conservative standards that women could not wear pantsuits because pantsuits were too liberal. Those guys could never understand this extra burden of wardrobe anxiety. As a dancer, it was easier for me to wear fishnets. Danskin made them extra durable, heavyweight, and if they snagged, the rip just added to the sexy look. As a halfway decent second violinist who could dance and wear a wig, I was recruited to play for a corporate band with travel perks to the castle in Quebec City and a beachfront hotel in Kauai. I broke down crying to my philosophy professor over my feminist angst of these choices. Band or bank? The difference of one consonant. What are my roles after being a college student but to be objectified as a sexy siren or to fit in a box as a dutiful capitalist? The queer professor shook her head with no advice, while standing in her comfortable shoes. Rousseau, nor anything in my books, would help me. The splinter made the decision. Since I couldn't wipe the worry about the pantyhose off my face or remember enough from the sports page to bond with the bank bros, Casey and the Sunshine Band's medley gave me long home notes to shake my booty. Play for the bankers at night, or the tech bros celebrating the Star Wars prequel. I found a day job crunching census data at a think tank, the closest thing to staying in college, at an office with loose dress code, free from pantyhose. At dark, I changed into a wig, tiny short shorts, and fishnets that didn't tear for a road more traveled. Back to a little more seriousness. This is a poem also from the Critical Race Feminism Reader. These are from words found by, in this legal article by Adrienne Catherine Wing, a Black feminist lawyer, brief reflections toward multiplicative theory and praxis of being. That title isn't very attractive, right? But I'm going to highlight the best parts of her article so all of us can really benefit from her wisdom and insights. Spirit injury. The law killed my muses. They haunt me with microdiscrimination that is spirit murder. Dumbfounded by offhand manners, not allowed to discuss it, thousands of spirit injuries dismiss me. No longer merely the sum of separate parts, the multiplier effect is our multi-layered experience, shifting back and forth between consciousness, tired of being a second-class citizen, waiting to be upgraded to first class, to celebrate, to flourish with richness here. Seen in full reflections, my muse returns for red love. My grandma was a poor, illiterate woman in Hong Kong as a British colonial, and I am the child of immigrants. So I have an international point of view, and I wanted to give her the respect she didn't have when she was alive by reading this in a British accent. How many of you are fans of Bridgerton? I know some of us here love Shonda Rhimes, right? Right. So Bridgerton has this gossip rag. A lady Whistledown tells the gossip of the socialites. Great. And my grandma was a little bit mean. Who has a mean grandma? So I hope you hear some of the multi-layers that are in this poem. It's written with all the letters of the alphabet. So pay attention to the X word and the Z words that are hard to find sometimes. Bridgerton's narrator spills the tea about my grandma. Grandma dearly departed with a grand hurrah, hailing respect instead of grief. In turn, her memorial party was her dream birthday celebration, as she just died gracefully of heart failure in her sleep. Kind of quiet exit, but so obvious as her last symphony. Manipulation was her modus operandi, so none of her surviving 7 children could say no to showing up. Over all the years of plot she orchestrated to stoke personality struggles with believable lies as the drama queen and mother mastermind of recurring rivalries between siblings. You needed the latest headlines to know who was mad at whom at this telenovela that could outdrink other families under the table. Air violins would play to whine about one sister's injustice, or how xenophobia ruined a brother's attempt at a white-collar career. Yarn skeins were what she left behind with a zoetic puzzle of where she might have hidden her jewelry. Accumulated hiding places were ways to anchor her bravery during war, occupation, and poverty as she silently sang her survival song. Conducting her power even from beyond, her heirs cleaned her home, dug through every jacket, looking for secret pockets, ever reminded how this frail elder knew how to perform her finale. listening to my grandma's life struggles when I was a wee girl made me a feminist at age 5. I didn't know what the word feminist was, but looking back, I realized at 5 I knew to fight for equal rights. Early on, before I knew I was lesbian or socialized as a person of color, I learned that safety and survival is far from guaranteed. Our multiple identities are more intertwined than some might expect, and every small effort, like a butterfly's flutter, can change a weather pattern, can mean the difference for our survival. There's a little bit of music to get us started. 10,000 butterflies. How many butterflies had to flutter to change the weather patterns enough for our ancestors to survive, to escape the cultural cleansing that was meant to erase those who were different? Popo said, many did not make it, especially on your father's side. Tailors, those who had skills too smart, some drowned. They had to swim to the waters, to the British colony of Hong Kong, where they made a new life. But why? I asked. Dingai? To survive, to escape the bad guys. Grandma tried to explain to me when I was only 5. When I was a teen, the Japanese soldiers could have taken me. I had to take the soot, the burnt bottom bits of the wall, and rubbed it on my face to make me ugly, and claim my older brother as my husband, because the soldiers were likely to take away the single young pretty girls. Young pretty girls were taken away during the war, so she had to pretend it was safer to be ugly. What if Grandma, Popo, had been taken away? I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be here today if Mom didn't marry Dad, because Dad promised Amma on her deathbed that he would return to find a bride in Hong Kong. Back in Hong Kong in 1996, I traveled as a college student before the turnover to China to find my roots. So much missing history. But my relatives said I had to promise, never go to China alone. Never go to China alone without a tour group to protect you because you don't speak Mandarin and you stand like an American. Anything you say and not say will make you a rebel. For no reason, a lonely policeman can throw you in jail and you will be disappeared. Disappeared? Like the desaparecidos from the protest songs of Latin America I sang with my college choir? Oh, the power of bold gay men in the streets of Buenos Aires reclaiming the slang mariposa. Cambia, todo cambia. Cambia, todo cambia. I found the underground lesbian club in Buenos Aires, down an empty street, down a stairwell, to a basement of an arcade, where I asked a girl to dance with me. Dance with me? She and her friends laughed at this loca, this crazy chinita, tourist traveling alone, wandering into Club Lesbiana, where the police still raided the gay clubs, where I could be disappeared. So they drove me home. They drove me home to Palermo, where I was staying with the gay boys who weren't allowed at the lesbian clubs, but were friends with the proudly out local mariposas who worked at PlanetOut.com. PlanetOut.com, one of the 1990s gay websites where we hungrily scoured for travel information, to find the fun, to find where we thought we could safely travel. But what about the places that are not so safe? Not safe to be pretty boys or butch girls. I pass as a femme and could claim one of those boys as my husband for different reasons than Grandma. It's a different war. To survive. To survive the political winds that sometimes swing violent, I now choose to live in a proud, gay little haven where I imagine I walk without the threat of being disappeared as I count the miracles of butterflies. Thank you. So those poems are from my book, Braided Spaces. I was thinking about how we feminists can bond over hair. We could bond over braided food, braided bread, and there's more information about my book and my events there, and I invite you to stay in touch and come to some of my events, and you can enjoy writing your own poetry or sharing with other people. Thank you.